market the last week or so, and but we'll go over it, talk about what we were looking at and what our bias was coming into today. So we'll get started here. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for April 1st, 2019. Q's up 1.32%, was gapping up just shy of 1%, and then SPY up 1.15. All right, so coming into today, now if you recall, we identified that the rallies were shortable. Okay, last week that was the tone that we had kind of put forth, expecting that the rallies to get sold. But then we noticed that the most recent sell-off produced a higher low, and we were looking to compress to set up the next move, likely transitioning back into an hourly uptrend. Okay, and then we got that gap up on Thursday, continued to compress, continued to look bullish, and today we got an even bigger gap. Okay, so same thing here on the Qs. Okay, put in a higher low, we got the gap up, and then another gap up here. We are into resistance, okay, on the Qs and SPY. So would like to see a pullback on the Qs and SPY. Pullbacks are buyable. Okay, that comes with the bullish bias. Okay, so daily on the Qs and SPY. We did note that the only way that we could turn bearish on the Qs and SPY is we'd have to get underneath this pivot. Now that we've got this fully formed here, now on the daily chart, we're going to be using 176.60 once we clear this high. And then on the SPY, it's already cleared. Okay, so the pivot is here, 277.64. In order for the long-term bias to change, that's what will need to be broken. We'll continue to use the hourly to see if it puts in a downtrend or some kind of bullish failure pattern. We could potentially switch again to a short-term bias, but right now, long-term, short-term bias remains bullish, okay, on both. All right, so Qs and SPY going into tomorrow, neutral to bullish. Would like to see the market pull back, but pullbacks are viable, okay? All right, so only one call for me today. That was the MLCO. Okay, casinos were very strong this morning, and so we identify the strength, and we want to go after the ones that are showing the most strength. Okay, so I know some people like to look for maybe something lagging in the sector and see if that gets picked up. I've generally found that that doesn't produce the best follow through, that generally the ones that are weak for a reason. That I want to give as much credit to the market, that the participants in the market are not just asleep at the wheel. And that's why no one's noticed that, you know, some other casino name that is either in the middle of the range or at the lows is there just out of kind of not being aware. So I generally, if I'm going to go after something strong, I want to go after something that's the strongest in the sector. If I want to see nice follow through, okay. This was basing at the highs. So this was the call here over 24.10, stop 23.95. This was 96, so I just gave an extra penny. That made it a kind of a nice, easy 15-cent stop. Okay, and then the targets were 24.30 and beyond. So I just want to make sure we can get some out decently on this MLCO, and then look for more. So the management on this, I think, was just okay. We did wait for 24.30 and then trailed some in here on the first piece, so that was nice. We waited for the new highs to trail again. Okay, so we did trail some there. And then for the runner, I did hold this, as I've discussed in other videos, to the hourly here to see how much we can get. And so, you know, this is the downside to this hourly trails, that sometimes you can go from a new high all the way down to the trail. And it actually didn't trail on that bar, it trailed on the very next bar. Okay. And I know that this is long, but stuff like, you know, maybe this RH, you know, is what I am hoping will happen, like this RH on Friday. If you played this, like the hourly will keep you in to the end of the day, because typically the things that I play, I want to play for big moves and see if I can stay in till the end of the day, you know, as long as it doesn't trail me out. So on the MLCO, it did get trailed shortly after we got out of lunch. You see it is closing up near the highs, but you know, that's where it got trailed. The first piece and the second piece I thought were pretty good. It was just this last bit that came in. We didn't really have a good place to trail. Only thing I did notice was if you had used a 15-minute bar by bar, that would have been probably as good as you can pick as far as a bar by bar trail, but I don't have that in my plan. That's not one of the management time frames that I have. You know, when you see something like this, it's not that you necessarily have to rewrite your entire rule book. If I start to see more of this, it's something that I can keep in mind to see if we do want to make adjustments on it. But maybe, you know, it does seem almost like too obvious that this was holding 15-minute bar by bar all morning and then finally came in. But overall, it was a decent winner still on the MLCO. Glad it worked out okay. I thought it was a pretty quiet day overall, but I thought, you know, we did a good job going after the stuff that was going to move. Sammy's SCOR is really the play of the day, though. They did this sell setup here in the morning. Nice follow through. And see, on this SCOR, for instance, I guess you might have gotten a little bit out there. I wait until it makes new lows before I go to the hourly trails. So this one, you know, ended up being pretty good to hold till end of day. So that was a pretty good short. I thought the MLCO, especially early on, it's always nice when they kind of get going and you don't really have to deal with any pain. You can see we got in and just green bar after green bar. But, you know, I think that over the next week, we'll probably get, you know, stuff like this, maybe like 1 or 2 plays in either direction. And maybe not a whole lot until earnings season comes around, which we just have a couple weeks until earnings season gets going. So, you know, the goal will be to be as picky as possible, just to stay sharp over the next couple weeks. And then when earnings season comes, you know, start to put on as many positions as we can, you know, and really execute our edge in a couple weeks. For now, you know, I just want to kind of stay sharp, stay in the game, keep your technical analysis sharp, and then when earnings season comes, you know, you won't have to like shake off any rust or, you know, get going. You'll be ready to go as soon as the gaps start showing up and the plays start showing up. Okay. All right, so I hope you did well today. If not, we will be back at it tomorrow. And like I said, yeah, just expect that throughout the week. It's going to be a couple plays daily, and then, you know, we'll see if we can't, you know, kind of put a few singles together this week. But really, the goal is to just stay sharp, okay? All right, have a great evening, everyone, and I will talk to you tomorrow.